Welcome to Orlando, the city beautiful. I am Zachary Tuohey, realtor with Stand Dollar Realty, and today we have very special my dad and stepmom. My dad's the president of Tuohey Construction, and my stepmom is the owner of the Colour Lab Salon. And today they're going to talk to us about what it is that they do in their businesses. Can you describe your business, what you do, where it's located?
Well, this is my third business, my third salon. It's in Apopka, Florida. This time I went much smaller, being with my experience of the other two salons. My problem these days is trying to hire quality people. So it just seems from the 80s to now, it's harder to find quality people who want to
care about the work,
who care about the work, who care about people, because you got to show up.
That's priority number one.
Care about people and the quality of their work. They're taking their craft seriously.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've heard your story 100 times, but go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you in the end.
Yeah, I'll hear it one more.
Started my business in 1985. Started out, I wanted to be the largest contractor, commercial contractor in the state of Florida. Then I got up to 11 employees in the early 2000s and decided I liked the nuts and bolts of construction better, liked being involved in the field with construction, so I downsized and currently have two other people working for me, and I'm at a good size, and I really enjoy what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Alrighty, and then besides me, what else motivates you guys to work hard?
Me besides
Yeah,
supporting
was there
you?
five,
Yeah, I mean,
five
yeah.
kids
5 kids, I'm sure
definitely will give you motive to work.
that's a good reason.
With me, I always thought it was the fear of failure. I would do whatever I had to do in order not to fail, and that kind of gets you through the really tough lean times. But also it's a good guide through when times are good. You want to be able to grow, control your growth, and not fail by getting too far ahead of yourself. So that's always been my guiding principle.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I'm a really competitive person. I played sports in high school, so that carried me through the hard times and the lean times. Also, I had a really great mentor in the early years that from Redken, who constantly installed saving. It's not what you make, it's what you save. And that got me through the dips in the economies, because both of us have businesses that are luxury businesses. People don't necessarily need us.
Not really disposable income type stuff.
Yes. So, I always tell my new people onto the floor, tips are great, and, you still have to claim your tips, that's big in our industry, but you also have to save it and put it away. And you should be, I always tell them, save at least 10% of what you're making this week. Put it away. So that's what I try to mentor into the younger cosmetologists coming on, is the importance of savings, because your check might look really big, but again, it's not what you're making, it's what you're saving that will sustain you through business, because believe me, you will fall on it unless you're very, very, very fortunate and have unlimited capital to keep you going, which
Very few people in this
very
world.
few people, yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't come from that kind of beginning. I started out on my own, so it was sustaining and saving.
Gotcha. Now, one of the things that's kind of unique about you two is that you're both small business owners and you're both married. So, can you talk about how that works as far
To
as
each other.
Yeah, I know, believe it. But can you talk about how that, whether that's difficult or there's good times, bad times? Do you kind of rely on each other when times get tough, that sort of thing?
Well, the two aspects of it is, number one, it's a little bit different because a lot of people, one of the couple will have work for somebody and have that steady income. And we don't have that. You can have peaks and valleys, of course, in construction. And then you can have peaks and valleys in the hair business. Certain times of year you're real busy. Summers they're not so busy. So you kind of worry a little bit about your cash flow because you don't have that steady income. So that's one aspect of it that we've had to learn to kind of work together to carry through those times. And then the other thing is, both being business owners, we're able to share and talk about things business-wise and help each other out here and there. So it's nice to have somebody you can talk
You
to.
probably relate to as opposed to somebody that weren't in the same position.
Exactly. So.
And our long hours, you know, if you're a person that's really dependent on your spouse, or, you know, we're pretty independent of each other. We keep our businesses separate. And I think the nice thing about this is it always seems like if one of us, you know, it's at a time in the economy where he might be in between contracts, or, you know, he can always lean on me. If, you know, it's like the summers are usually slower, I lean more on him. But you learn to adjust your budget. You learn to count on each other and constantly, you know, reassure each other that, yeah, well, you might not be that busy this year, but remember 2 years ago how busy you were. You carried us. So there's always ebbs and flows, and it's learning how to, we've done it by really just keeping it separate and you know, giving advice, but knowing that the other one is the one who's ultimately, it's their business. So I've learned to back way off because I always have an opinion. And
I can vouch for that.
And yeah, and he's always good with his logical thought process. So if I'm having a bad day, or I've had to deal with a client, or I've had to deal with an employee that I'm having to let go, or, you know, work things through, he's good to talk me into a direction and step by step. So I do lean on him a lot for the business aspect and how would you handle this, or do you think I should be upset about this, or what would you do in this situation? I run it by him all the time. So that's a big help.
Gotcha. I was going to ask what the biggest challenge is for each of you, but I'm going to kind of direct things to the issue that we're facing now with COVID-19. I'm just curious how it's impacting each of your businesses, construction and hair salon and spa.
Well, I'm busier because people are in this constant panic that we're going to close it down again for another month and a half. It affected us when the governor told us in 3 days we had to open back up. That was really hard for, because we also deal with the health department with, you know, the facials and massages. So we have to take the extra steps, just like somebody, more so in a restaurant where the sanitation is utmost important. So we had to have everything written in procedures. We had to make sure everybody followed procedures. So that was tough getting started. It was nice for me to have the month and a half off, and I know that sounds very self-centered, but to be able to collect my thoughts and redirect where I want my business to go, and actually take a good look at inventory again and what I didn't want to start up with. So it was a good restart for us.
Like a silver lining type
Silver
thing.
lining for us. We also, you know, came back with more hours that we could have worked. We really had to.
People probably got tired of cutting their own hair.
Right, and
probably.
Fixing mistakes with the color salon. You know, there were a lot of mistakes, so it really kind of boosted us. But on the same sense, it was like being thrown back in really fast. So it's been tiring, and he's been patient, and you were lucky to have enough contracts going when the whole.
Yeah, it really hasn't affected me right now, business-wise. Construction really hasn't had to do and implement all the precautions that so many other businesses have had to do. At my job sites, we do practice social distancing, and those who want to wear a mask can, of course, and we have sanitizer in hand. But with most of our jobs, most of these subcontractors are working in different areas. They're spaced out anyways. We currently have a project going downtown, which there's virtually nobody downtown right now anyways. So it hasn't affected me in that sense that it has a lot of other businesses. Now down the road, 6-8 months from now, depending on what has happened economically at this point, it may have an effect on me and my business later, but as of right now, it hasn't.
Alrighty, there you have it. I'm Zachary Tuohey, realtor with $10 Realty. This is my dad, owner of Tuohey Construction, and my stepmom, owner of Colour Lab Salon and Spa. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.